This is the Third Room Podcast. Third Room Podcast. Sponsored by Southern Creek Clothing.
Here we go.
All right, welcome back. What episode is this, Kent? My notebook's in the truck.
I don't know.
You know what? You know what? I can tell you real quick. Let's see.
I've been out of town.
Probably should look this up before we started, but it's all good. It's like 123, I think.
Okay.
Oh, not the 33rd, the 3rd.
This is the 4th of July episode. This is it.
4th of July. I don't know. The last episode we have up is 119. So
I was about to say, man, I don't know if my YouTube hasn't updated for it or.
Yeah, no, I think we got a couple episodes in the holster here. We're gonna go ahead and record another one. So this should be like 122, 123.
We got stuff in the works, big stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Thanks to Southern Creek Clothing, use code 3RD, 20% off your entire order.
There we go. All right, so let's get into it. Well, there's some political stuff that happened this week. The biggest one being Juul's being banned.
Yeah, so my main issue with this is like the reasoning, and it was always the reasoning for Juul, like getting rid of the mango flavors and all that stuff, is they say it's more appealing to kids, right?
Yeah, bro. So is my blue raz ice right here.
Exactly. So that was my point. Is I feel like those right there are way more appealing to kids. They got like cool colors and stuff on them. A Juul's just a basic, like
it
doesn't look
most basic you can get.
Yeah, it does not look like something that it would really pop out for like a kid to be like, oh yeah, I want that, right?
You know, the biggest thing, like, you know, they say with like, okay, with your plastic baggies, it's like Ziploc was the first one, so you call them all Ziploc bags, no matter what brand they are.
Yeah.
With air freshener, Febreze was the first one.
Right.
With bleach, Clorox was the first name brand. Those companies all benefited off of it. Juul's is the first company to just get absolutely ripped because they were the first one to do it.
And Juul's made in America, right?
I believe so. And if I sent my ID when I was 19 to some foreign country, but it's fine.
Well, all the disposables are like they're based out of China. Yeah. Just about all of them.
Yeah, every one of them.
So it's cool to import those and sell them and everything. No problem with that. But
American businesses. Let me look. Let's see. Juul. Oh, I can't type.
That's cool.
Let's see.
No, it is manufactured in China also, but the pods are made in the U.S.
Yeah, the e-cigarette company Juul, which won an investment from Marlboro maker. So basically, the company owns Marlboro, owns Juul too.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Analysts have credited Juul with single-handedly resurrecting the slump in the e-cigarette market.
Okay.
Apparently the Altria is who owns Marlboro, who makes Marlboro. They won an investment from them at a $38 billion valuation. Yeah, that's crazy. But that's always been my thing. Like mint was like the best flavor ever. It wasn't like, I feel like if you were using Juul's, like I get like mango, whatever. I got tired of mango. I use it a lot, but like I get like mint. If you're using Juul, I don't think you're using a Juul to like, because you thought the colors looked cool or the flavors were cool or something like that. You either were going to a nicotine addiction anyway, or you already had one.
Or that was your alternative to cigarettes.
Exactly. That was for me. I stopped smoking cigarettes once I picked up a Juul.
Yeah.
But so like, that's your point. Like I've always thought like Juul, like they had a couple good flavors, but it's nothing like, you know, your Blue Raz Ice, your what's the melon time, like
Lush Ice,
Lush Ice, cotton candy, like
yeah,
you have
strawberry
so many.
banana, yeah.
You can't walk into an Indian gas station anymore and not see 7 different disposables, all with
No.
like all kinds of crazy sounding flavors.
Speaking of stuff that gets sold in gas stations now, I don't know. I think it has to do with the law that like for liquor to be liquor, it has to be over so many percent. Everywhere I go now, gas stations, Walmart, shit, everybody's selling Fireball now too.
Really? I hadn't seen that one.
Yes, every gas station I've been in recently has got like Fireball minis.
I know the one right outside the gate has one. The Legacy right outside the gate, they have it, but they also have a liquor store on the other side too.
They do, but I've seen. I saw them at I went in Walmart last week. I saw Fireball in Walmart.
Hell yeah! That I don't get why. I don't get why you can't sell. I mean, I guess you have. I don't get what the difference is being able to sell liquor versus being able to sell beer. I know there's like a licensing difference, but I don't get why it's there. You can blame it on the ATF.
Something like that.
The ATF is the MLB of government organizations. when you
that's a tough one.
When you compare the MLB, how it's ran versus every other major sport, and then you like see the ATF.
I'm not going to disagree with that. Speaking of all that, like RIP Busch Light Apple, this is the last year they're having it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've stocked up on it.
They're getting rid of it completely. That's crazy. I know a lot of people like it. I tried. It was all right.
I like it. They're transitioning out. This is the last year it's going to be available. They're probably going to make something new. Hope it does.
I like the fact that Busch Light's one of those companies that's always trying to come up with something different, something new.
Mm-hmm.
Did they ever get into the seltzer game?
I think they were the company that's like, nah, we ain't never gonna sell no seltzers.
I like that though. I like that. We sell Busch Light. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah.
We know who our market
We
is.
know our audience, yeah. This isn't the high class beer to drink. This is beer you drink when you ain't got a lot.
Our market isn't the 21-year-old blonde college girl. Our market is the 37-year-old redneck. That's our market.
This is the beer for the farmer and the construction worker.
Yep. Or out in the golf course, because the golf courses sell it cheaper out of anything else.
Absolutely.
That's the one place I like to have a Busch Light is on the golf course, because like you go out there and it's like I can get 6 Busch Lights for $4 cheaper than I can get 6 of anything else.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. There ain't a bad place for me to have a Busch Light. But yeah, I think it's absolute bullshit that they like Juul's being banned in the US. It makes no sense to me. I think it's like you said, it's probably just some weird political thing.
They were the first ones. They're the poster child for it. You know, like they're the ones that's going to be made an example out of, because at the time, dude, like before Juul came out, getting into vaping was like really overwhelming.
You have to go buy 5 separate things and put that together, and then you can put some kind of extra juice you got to go buy.
Yep. You got to go walk into some vape shop, and the owner makes you feel like a dumbass, and the 17-year-old kid that's not really supposed to be in there makes you feel like a dumbass.
Yeah.
And
you don't know the difference between PG and VG, bro? Get out of here.
Yeah, and you had people making their own juices and this and that, and you'd walk by at work and people are twisting up their cotton for their drippers or whatever. And
hey, I custom made these coils. I get like 2 extra ampules out of this thing, bro. It's awesome. You
got
to have a basic electricity degree to like own one of these things.
It's like you're right. Yeah, you got to be with a basic E. It was like somebody that doesn't know anything about cars taking their car to the shop to get their oil changed, and their dealer tells them they've got 17 things wrong with their car, and they're not, but you don't know that, you know?
They're like, dude, you don't want this 2014 Sonata. We got a brand, like it's like a 2019 right now. It's discounted. Just go ahead and trade this in and get the new one. Yours is $2. Keep working on.
Yeah, yours needs an oil change. It needs tire rotation, and it needs new windshield wipers, bro. You might as well come buy a new one.
$6,000. Get out of here.
Yeah. But so I ran across some information. We talked about this before. You may know this already. I'm just learning this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Charles Manson, right? You know how it was rumored he was he was in with the CIA.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big rumor.
Yeah.
The rumor is that he was probably part of MK Ultra as well.
That's not that far fetched.
Good.
I've heard conflicting stories about the Manson killings. The thing that I always grew up hearing was Charlie never killed anybody, right?
Right. He always convinced people.
Yeah, he
to do
convinced
that.
Tex and that handful of girls to go and kill folk. But then some
Right.
people say he did kill people. I don't know. Whatever. The dude's nuts. He's whacked out of his mind.
So, the real argument here is like it's not whether he was involved in the CIA and MK Ultra. It's whether he really killed anybody personally himself.
Yes.
And a lot of people say he learned how to manipulate people with LSD and all that with MK Ultra. Whether he was MK Ultra was personally done to him or not, they're not quite sure. But that's how he knew how to manipulate people. Was he's seen the effects of LSD and he learned to manipulate people with LSD.
Right.
And James Whitey Bulger was in MK Ultra, and apparently they like really experimented on him with LSD.
Well, Whitey Bulger, he did work for the feds too.
Yeah.
So Bulger was a mafia enforcer or something like that.
It was something along those lines. He was already getting prison time. It was like 10 years, and they said, we'll knock your prison time down if you
become an informant or whatever.
No, if you go along with this experiment we're doing called MK Ultra.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so like apparently while he was like tripping on LSD, they would I think they said over 78 times while he was on LSD, they kept asking him like, would you ever kill anybody? Would you ever kill anybody? And asked him a lot of leading questions into killing people. And so my theory is the serial killer boom of the 60s and 70s
was a product of that.
Could be, right? I mean, it's not that far-fetched.
My mom told me one time that she met Ted Bundy when she was real young.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
A guy I worked with said he lived in the same building in college as John Wayne Gacy.
That's insane.
Yeah, like he didn't realize it till afterwards. Like he wasn't buddies with him or anything. But
yeah, she didn't know that until later. Like I think he come walking up at one time where she was like at home by herself or something. He's like, "Hey, do you mind if I use your telephone?"
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit, that's wild, bro.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So, I don't know, it's crazy. But I think you may be onto something.
I mean, really, when you line up the dots, you know,
it's not a far-fetched story.
Where is it? Where could it go? Like, you have two, I think, and the Unabomber. The Unabomber was part of MK Ultra too. Which they also like. There was some more stuff that happened with the Unabomber, like his like when he was first born, he was like sick and everything else. And they isolated him for like, was it 2 months or 3 months or something like that? And
yeah, something like that.
He didn't have human like touch for the first 2 or 3 months of his life. Like as soon as he was born, they removed him from his mother and isolated him until he could, get over that stuff.
Yeah.
Which, you don't realize like the human body is almost like Bluetooth, right? Like you need touch and all that. Like it's like a smart device, obviously. And so like that, they said that played a part in him being the fucking psychopath he was, because like his brother was perfectly normal.
Yeah.
Like his brother actually, I think, is the one that ratted on him, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was something like that. Yeah, it was somebody that he knew. You don't think about it like this, but any stranger you walk past could be a serial killer.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Like I think about that all the time. I'm like, I'll be walking past somebody. I'm like, they could just pull out a knife and stab me right now. Nothing I can do about it. Like they could pull out a gun, just bang. Nothing I can do about it.
There was a time I sat in on it was a dude going over a court case or whatever, and he talked about something like that, and he was like, if I get shot in the street when I'm just walking down the sidewalk, I mean, I think it's just my time to go. There's nothing you can do about that. It's just going to happen.
Right. I think every guy, when he's in some kind of large environment or like there's a lot of people, I think every guy goes through like a scenario in their head. It's like, how would I get out if something went south right now? Like, you know what I mean?
What's your first thoughts when you sit down in the movie theater?
Movie theater. See, I always forget about Aurora, Colorado. I always forget about that. See, me is more like for instance, like we're sitting at a football game.
Yeah.
There's nothing but like fans pack the stands, right? There's nowhere for you to really run and get away. You're all out in the open. Whereas like in a movie theater, I'm like, it's dark. Like I can get behind seats and move and hide and stuff like that to an extent. It's like, I really don't like think about movie theaters as much, but
I always think like, how fast could I get to the exit?
Yes, this video.
Get in the video. Tell her get in the video.
She just got out of bed. She just got out of bed. But yeah, like movie theaters, I don't think I'm as much of, but like you said, like if I'm at a football game or maybe like a graduation or something like that, right. I'm like, all it takes is just one person to just not have a good day.
Yeah.
Like when you really think about it, it's crazy. Like as much as society, like as shitty as society can be, it's crazy. We all just follow made up rules, you know?
Yeah, more or less. I mean, that's a whole topic.
Like guys with nothing to lose. Like, obviously, I wish nobody committed suicide, but like guys with nothing to lose that just commit suicide on their own.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's really stopping them? Like, if they're already planning on, offing themselves, like, what's stopping them from just,
going to get the people they don't like?
Or anybody. It's just crazy how we follow, like, the society follows like rules like they do. Like when we're driving, we stop because there's a red light bulb or a red sign. That just makes us stop. In other countries, people just don't stop, bro. People just don't stop.
Those 14 lanes in India or whatever.
Yeah, they just all go, That's why you don't see like Maseratis in some of these towns. That's why you see like Fiats.
Yeah.
Because it's a low value car that can get beat up.
I got to get past people.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I saw a post on Facebook talking about it was talking about like what's something American, like what's something the Americans do that Europeans can tell like that's an American, like when they're commenting on a Facebook post or whatever. And somebody
driving on the right side of the road.
Well, like they say like if you comment on a Facebook post, like what comment, like what in the comment can you pick out that like a lot of Americans do or say that you can pick out that that's an American, not like a European or anybody else from any part of the world. And right. some people are like, oh, the obvious, like guns and this and that.
Yeah.
And somebody said calling Europeans because we're all from different countries and they don't ever specify the country. I said, you know what? You're right. But this time I'm going to start calling them all almost Germans. Like, there's Germans and the almost Germans.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It's like, hey, Dutch, pretty close. But then they do the same thing though. They go, oh, Americans. Right.
Yeah. But we're all from the same country though. Like they don't know our states. Like we don't know their provinces and things like that. But they're saying like, we'll call somebody from the UK and somebody from France, both European. Two different cultures, two different countries, but we call them both European,
I guess that's where, so somebody had a quote one time, which made a lot of sense to me. It was like, Americans think 100 years is a long time, where people in, like Europe or whatever think 100 miles is a very long way.
Yeah.
Right. And that's probably why we do it. We try to generalize it because you can go through the entirety of Ireland in like 12 hours, right? From top to bottom, drive it.
Yeah.
How long does it take to get through Texas?
I think it's over 12 hours. I think it's like 14 or 15 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you can drive through the entire UK before you can drive through Texas. I think is what the stat is. And Texas isn't even our largest state.
Right.
That's the
right.
thing.
Exactly. So I don't know, man.
But
it's so that's probably why we do it.
I'm going to start saying instead of Europeans, I'm going to start calling them almost Germans. Tell me I'm wrong though.
You're not, but like I feel like it's slightly offensive,
Eh,
but it's not wrong.
I mean, you
Alright.
started. I mean, not the people. The people alive now didn't do it, obviously, but like one country started an entire war,
With the whole world.
and was focused on like the perfect race and all this, like the conquistadors. Like, yeah, they weren't good people, but as long as you were like, Christian, I'll convert to I'll convert to Catholicism or Christianity, whatever. They wouldn't kill you, right? But like the Hitler took it up a notch. He didn't care what he well, I guess he did care what you believed in.
I think
like,
he did. Yeah.
But like, even though like, homosexuals and things like that, he was killing off too. It wasn't just Jews. By the way, I'm tired of the UK acting like we're evil as a country. Like, yeah, we got our issues. We're working through it. Let's not forget, like, the whole reason we're here is because you were just going around killing people in random countries. Like,
They still just mad we got away from 'em.
yeah, you're right. We
Happy
won.
4th of July.
Yeah. But yeah, they like they all talk about our history with slavery and things like that, and I'm not justifying any of that. It's awful that it ever happened. But like, we're really quick to forget like the UK or Great Britain's like history in the world, right? Like, they started most of the bad things in the world.
Yeah.
They started most of that. So anyway, after that rant.
Yeah, get off on a tangent.
But yeah, that started with I think Charles Manson. I think the whole well, it started with Charles Manson, but my whole theory was I think the serial killer boom started with MK Ultra.
That's not a bad theory.
Like, now you have them, but they're a lot of them are inspired from other serial killers.
But these are all like back then. Like we do have that nowadays, but I couldn't name a person from the last 10 years that went on like a big serial killing. All these were like high profile serial killers.
Right. Like, you had Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, the Golden Gate killer, the Golden State killer.
Zodiac killer,
Charles Manson. You had
Ted Cruz.
Whitey Bulger. You never know. But Ted Cruz is really like 75. We just don't know it. But yeah, like, you had a big boom of serial killers. Like, people say, oh, people are more violent now than ever. I'm like, no, you had people back in the 60s and 70s killed 40 people a piece. You
want to go back further than that? You think about medieval. Nobody was killing people back then. No, they definitely were.
Yeah, but if you were royalty, it was allowed, and if you were bottom of the pile, nobody cared.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of balanced it out. As long as you killed your own, if you're at the bottom of the pile, as long as you killed somebody else that was just a common man, they didn't really care.
You could bump it up and say, like, look at the mafia, right? Look at the 30s and the 40s and stuff.
But that was all like calculated, though. They weren't just killing each other just to do it. Like, somebody stepped on somebody's shoes, or somebody's moving in on somebody's business. Like, that was like calculated hits. Like, oh, I agree. Like, killings wasn't right to be in any way, in any capacity. But
it hasn't. We're just having progress here. It's like we're coming into more modern times, and it all goes back to, like we've talked about before, the age of the internet and everything. Yep. Everybody's got a phone. Everybody can communicate about it. You don't know how much more this actually even happened back then.
Right. It could have been 10 times what we think it was.
Right. But a lot of that shit didn't get reported like it does.
Like, when you think about like starting off early times, if you were living on an island or a country where, you're native to, and you saw a boat coming to you, chances are you were going to have to fight for your fucking life. Like,
people were chucking spears at the first folks that got off that boat. They didn't care who they were.
Exactly. Like, chances are you were about to have to fight for your life if somebody would come in on a boat. And then, you move up, and you have the mafia and things like that, where you could get whacked on accident, without realizing you got whacked. Oh, I want to start a new business. Oh, I'm stepping on the mafia's toes. So
Yeah, I
now
went into the wrong shop and ordered something. This isn't even actual business.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then, you had your serial killer boom and things like that, where people don't realize like we have our issues still, but it's not like it used to be.
We just got more mental health problems nowadays.
Right. And my theory on that, the mental health problems, is we don't have enough to worry about as a society. We don't have enough to worry about. Like, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Like we live very easy lives.
Yeah.
When you compare them to the rest of history.
Absolutely.
Like you don't wonder where your next meal's coming from, having a hunt of buffalo. You don't worry about
it's the idle hands thing. Yeah. We're not surviving every day. We're living every day, right?
Yes.
And so now it's like, oh, I'm bored. I'm gonna go kill somebody.
Right. Yeah. Like we have mental health. You sit there and stew over stuff, and then like we've made problems out of things that used to not be issues.
Right.
Like
how hot was it today? It was what, like 92 today?
Something like that. Yeah.
Could you imagine not having AC?
Oh, I know, dude. That would make me want to go kill somebody, honestly.
I wasn't gonna say that. It did cross my mind.
I went with AC without AC for like 2 months after I bought my house, and it was like the worst 2 months of my entire life.
Yeah, my upstairs AC went out like 6 or 7 months after I was living here, and for like a week I'm just laying in sweat.
Yep.
Thinking how terrible it was.
Yes, like I think about like you get in your car, you have AC. You're in your house, you have AC. Now typically like I technically work outside, but like
you got fans.
Yeah, like we have fans and all, and I wish I work at night so it's not as bad. But like people make air conditioners out of like coolers now and stuff like that. So it's like we have it so easy that we've made up things to become problems, right? Like people back then, they didn't care how hot it was. They just threw on a shade hat and went to work.
They were more worried about, like you said, surviving than they were about anything else.
Yeah, and we're not worried about surviving anymore. We're worried about just we're thriving as a society when you compare us to the rest of history.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you look at the Romans. The Romans got to a point where they weren't surviving anymore. They had set up government, they'd set up everything, and everything was going nice and smooth. And it was probably the closest thing you can see in history to a modern day society.
Pretty much.
They eventually collapsed because they were just worried about things other than surviving. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then it's a whole progress off of that same era of some other entity is going to try to come in and kill you because you have it so good and they don't.
Yeah, you have it nice, and you turn into a soft society in other countries. Like you look at China, bro. People in China are still just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's what people are worried about right now is if China would decided to try to take us over,
Yeah.
It's like because we're a soft society, which I'm not saying is a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to be like we are as a society, really, in the grand scheme of things. But the people that are growing up tougher and fighting, they have an edge on that kind of a society.
And like the Library of Alexandria, it got burned down because the people that burned it down were so mad that these folks were like learning so much, right? They were progressing so much as a society. Yep. They're like, we're going to stop you from doing that.
Yeah. So switch topics here. Get off something a little serious. Okay. We all remember the scandal with Brian Harsin, right? All the alleged cheating and all that, right? The rumor was he was screwing an assistant and all that. None of it ever come out to be true. We don't know if it was actually false or actually true. Until I see evidence, I pretty much am just going to go with the side that it wasn't true.
Yeah.
And it seems to not have been true, or they would have actually found something legitimate.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer.
Or a lot of money's been paid to sweep it under the rug. Yeah.
Right. Which I think is a little less. I don't think that's the case because the people you'd pay the money to were the people trying to basically put a hit out on you.
Yeah, exactly.
So then we have Urban Meyer. We have 10 minutes, by the way.
Holy shit.
Yeah. We have 10
Okay.
minutes. We'll end it. Then I'll email both of these, Tristan.
Okay.
So we have Urban Meyer, right? Caught at his own bar with his thumb in a girl's ass while married, everything else. We forgot about that shit in 3 weeks.
It's just Urban Meyer being Urban Meyer. Don't worry about it.
Like we forgot about that in 3 weeks. Urban Meyer got off so much easier than Brian Harsin did, you know? Like in the grand scheme of things, we were like, everybody freaked out because Brian Harsin was rumored by like somebody not even close to the program that maybe he could have been screwing an assistant because he hired her from his last college. Like, we made a giant stretch to try to get Brian Harsin. And like, part of this is, a little biased because I'm an Auburn fan. I like Harsin.
You got your shirt on. Yeah, it's fine.
But then, but then I still think, I mean, I don't know if I'd ever really made this connection, but if somebody would have made it to me, I feel like I would have agreed that Brian Harsin or Urban Meyer got off so much easier than Brian Harsin. Like he did. Like Urban Meyer has a couple national championships. Fuck it. He can cheat on his wife. It's okay. As a society, we don't care. Brian Harsin, he had one, rocky year. Yeah. We're going to pretend like we're going to continue running with this. Like we still see the jokes about it, I think Christian sent something in the group message the other day about Brian Harsin.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, but now I also feel like if Nick Saban were to do this, I feel like it's completely, it's this along the same lines as Brian Harsin.
They would put him on a stake. Yeah.
Yes. But I think it's also because of the reputation he's built for himself.
I was just about to say the stigma behind Nick Saban, right?
Yeah.
Like he's supposed to be up here on this pedestal.
Yeah, Miss Terry and his daughter, and like he's turned Alabama into like a family thing for him,
Yeah.
And so I feel like that it would go the opposite way, but it's just mind blowing how quickly we just let go of Urban Meyer with his thumb in a girl's ass at a bar on a Monday night.
Hey,
it was after the game. It was the day after the game, so it had to be. It was either on a Sunday or Monday night. That's insane.
You got to celebrate. You got to go celebrate.
That's insane that anybody was in the bar on a Sunday or Monday night in the first place.
Hey, ball game time, buddy.
And the fact that he was like, he let his team go back to Jacksonville while he stayed in Ohio.
Yeah.
To do this. Like there was, and then, I mean, all the other stories that come out, like him not knowing who certain players are on other teams. And like, he didn't even know who James Robinson was, his own running back who had an amazing breakout year the year before.
Right.
He didn't even realize who he was when he got to the facility. That's what the rumor was. But I just had to make a point that we really let Urban Meyer off the hook, and we're still crucifying Brian Harsin.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
No,
I get it. In other sports related news, Zion Williamson, they're having negotiations to extend 5-year contract for the max of $231 million. I think that's insane that the Pelicans can offer him that.
I think I can't remember if I said this on the podcast or just said it to Tristan the other day. 3 years. In 3 years, I don't think you'll have a Zion Williamson in the league.
I think to me, when he got signed on, I saw John Wall all over again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You remember the song John Wall?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to prove how hyped up he was, there was a whole entire song people danced to. It wasn't like you found it on YouTube kind of thing. It was like a big song.
No, it was mainstream. Yeah, it was, and that was his first year in the NBA.
I think that was him getting drafted.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's not that I don't think Zion's not a good player, but I think I don't think he's worth the money that they're paying him right now. Yeah. 2, he's spent so much time being banged up, and it's purely because of his size.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not anything he can control.
As fast as he moves and as big as he is, and
powerful he is,
he's going to wear and tear on his body.
Yeah. Yeah. Shaq, he's built like Shaq, but he's not.
He's not Shaq.
He's the same kind of. He should be the same kind of player as Shaq, but he's not built like Shaq, I should say.
Right.
like Shaq could with like he could take all that jumping and coming down. Like how many times Zion messed up a knee or an ankle coming down off a dunk,
Right.
where it
Right.
shouldn't be anything serious, but for how big he is and his muscle mass and everything else, which that boy's starting to thicken up too.
Yeah, he's starting to get a little bigger.
He's starting to get a little chunky.
Yeah.
Me too though. So it's all good. Oh, dude, we went to the lake.
Yeah.
I took my shirt off. And I went skiing and I got done skiing and I felt how bad I was hurting. And I looked down and I was like, something needs to be done here.
Oh no.
I was like, my body isn't built to carry this. Like I'm going to be in pain. My knees were hurting last night at work for no reason, like just in physical pain.
Just getting old, man.
Bro, I think I'm hovering right around 180, like 182, something like that.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the most I've been, but I'm not like, I don't think my body frame is going to be able to hold up if I keep going on this path. And all I do is play video games and go to work,
Hey, it is what it is.
And I'm talking about Zion. He's saying his knees can't hold up, and he's a professional basketball player.
It's true.
Well,
we look at him on the grand stage,
Yeah.
Like everybody talks about, you're watching Tom Brady and he misses a pass, right? He missed that 45-yard pass through 2 defenders, and you're like,
fucking sucks.
Sucks while you're sitting on the couch eating Cheetos.
He missed that guy wide open. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. And it's like, oh yeah, you have 5 or 6, 7, 200 or 290 pound, 330 pound guys running at you with their only goal is to take your fucking head off. Yeah. You try that out. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
You have Vince Wilfork run down your fucking throat and see if you don't freak the fuck out.
We look at everything through a microscope.
For sure. So we got about 3 minutes left on this. So I'm going to go ahead and end it, save the video, and then we can go again.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
So, okay. We have to, I'm not paying for Zoom, so we have to jump back and forth between 40-minute increments. All right. So, I thought of this question the other day. We'll ask Tristan and Christian when they get back on the pod. Do you have a picture with anyone famous?
I don't think I have a picture with anyone famous. I've been obviously I've been to concerts a lot and been like right by the stage and taking, pictures of the people up on stage, or even to the point of having them say something to you. You're like, oh yeah, it says something to me. But no, I'm never like, oh, there's a famous guy, come here and take a picture with me.
So the one big one that I have is Bobby and Terry Bowden. We were at Miracle Strip when I was little, and we were walking down Miracle Strip. I've got the picture somewhere. I'm not quite sure where it's at the moment. It's in a frame and everything. I've still kept it.
Yeah.
We're walking down the Miracle Strip, and Dad sees Bobby and Terry Bowden. He was like, they were sitting on a bench talking, and he was like, "Hey, you mind taking a picture with my son?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure." So I sat down on the bench, took a picture right there in between. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I found it.
Yes.
I found it.
It looks like a picture that you take with your uncles at a family gathering.
Bro, for the longest time, I was you can tell real young in that picture, maybe 5.
Who are these people?
Maybe 5, 6. Dude, for probably 5 or 6 years there, I was like, "Hey mom, who are these 2 dudes I took a picture with on this bench one time?" Like who the fuck was that? But
I got a picture. I shook Bob Riley's hand when he was the governor of Alabama.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was a little kid, and he come walking out of the office when I was at the Capitol, and I was like, "Hey, and they were like, "You want to take a picture with him?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Shook his hand. They took a picture. But that's, I mean, if you count him as being famous.
Like I know Tristan's got the Nick Saban picture from going to the camp.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool.
But yeah, Bobby Bowden, winningest coach of all time in college football.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And Terry Bowden was the coach at Auburn, I think, at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was pretty cool.
That is cool. Yeah.
I'm sure there's one somewhere else. Kelly's going to get dinner. I'm sure there's
nice.
I'm sure there's one somewhere else that I probably can't think of right now. I think maybe no picture with him. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to see if anybody, if you ever met a certain person, like do you ever see on TikTok, like they try to connect themselves?
Yeah.
What's it called? 20 something degrees or whatever, 3 degrees or whatever it's called, where it's like, I find that I have a picture with this person who has a picture with this person. And it's like, connect yourself to like George Washington or something. Right. And it's like, they go back and it's, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. That's neat.
So I don't know if you had anybody. USC and UCLA, breaking news, are going to the Big Ten.
Yep.
I feel bad for anybody that's playing at USC or UCLA.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it because the conference is tougher. I'm saying it because they're going to be playing a 9 a.m. game in Rutgers.
Yeah.
It's going to be 9 a.m. in Rutgers. It's going to be 5 a.m. for them.
I was about to say, hey, we're going to have to hop on the plane at like 2 a.m. or something like that. Like,
you're going to have to you're going to have to take a flight like two days early so they can like adjust a little bit.
Yeah.
You imagine having to play a football game at 5 o'clock in the morning?
No.
I mean, you'd be groggy as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it may help because it'll feel earlier, like in over there. Like they'll have to fly to Penn State and they're playing a 4 a.m. a 5 a.m. game, whatever the time difference is. It doesn't make sense geographically.
I don't know why we're I understand the standpoint of like with, super conferences and everything. But I felt when they were saying, oh, well, these people have their bids in to join the SEC or whatever. And it's like, SEC literally stands for Southeast Conference.
Yeah.
You're not in the Southeast.
Exactly.
What's the point of having names for these conferences anymore then? That the whole point of a conference is to play in your geographical area.
Yes. Yes. And I think Brandon Walker tweeted about this right after it happened, but if we get rid of geographical play, like conferences, that kills rivalries.
Absolutely.
That absolutely kills rivalry. And it's like, and I don't mean like rivalries, like there's some schools you don't really consider, like you don't consider on paper a rivalry. Yeah. But like it has became a rivalry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if Alabama and Florida never play again? Like it's not technically a rivalry, but it's a pretty rival fan base. They're right.
Oh, absolutely.
Right next to each other.
Right beside each other. Yeah.
And like, so like you have like I get like there's more money in the Big Ten. I get there's more hype behind playing Ohio State in week 7 than there is playing Washington State in week 7. I get all of that. But from a logistical, like from a money standpoint, it makes sense. From a logistical standpoint, it makes zero sense at all.
Yeah.
Like, your fan base is going to be more like, maybe this is just from living in Alabama or the South or whatever, but your fan base is going to be more invested if their coworker roots for Washington, like they're not going to have any coworkers. Like, I mean, they may have some, but like, they're not going to have a coworker or a buddy that grew up loving Penn State. Like, so it's like, yeah, I hope we beat them, but I don't have to deal with it if we lose. Like for like at least the SEC, because it's one of the few conferences that's still within their self, without or minus like Texas, Oklahoma, and A&M. Like, yeah, I mean, you grow up with guys that are Georgia fans all their life, Florida fans, stuff like that.
Yeah,
you grow up with those people. That's what makes the game that much bigger. It's because like I don't want to have to hear that stupid son of a bitch talk shit at work on Monday.
Right. Or you lose that game to like Penn State or whatever, and you're like, oh damn it, whatever. And then you go to work the next day, nobody talks about it except for the UCLA fan or whatever, like, damn, so we lost last night. It's like, yeah, dude, it did. I hated that.
Yeah. And see, it's not going to affect the teams in the Big Ten as much as it's going to affect USC and UCLA. Right. Like I can play an 11 p.m. kickoff, but I can't. It's going to suck playing a 5 a.m. kickoff,
Right.
Like the 11 a.m. is going to be a big difference, or 11 p.m. is going to be a big difference in time and all that. Like I'm not going to be as used to it, but I catch a few more hours of sleep and I'm fine. Sleep a little later in the day. It's not a big deal. Most people, especially college kids, they're better at staying up at night anyway than waking up at 5 a.m. to go play a football game.
Right.
So, I mean, I feel like this is going to hurt USC and UCLA. I feel like it's going to hurt them logistically, their record. I feel like it's going to hurt their fan base. Their fan base isn't going to be as tied into the games as they once were.
Absolutely.
I think they went together so they can still have that rivalry game, but I don't think this is a good move for USC or UCLA.
No, I agree. I don't think it is either.
They're going to get money on the front end, but it's not going to help them on the back end long term.
Nope.
On the front end with the Big Ten, the Big Ten network and everything else, it's really going to help with TV deals and stuff like that, but it's really going to hurt long term. I think it's going to hurt these programs long term. It's going to be interesting to see who the Pac-12 decides to pick up to replace their two. Honestly, like I know UCLA hasn't been good in probably 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, at least 10 years. Yeah.
But they're the two biggest pillars in the Pac-12. They're both in Cali, they're both right there. Like one's in Los Angeles, one's in Southern California. Like they're the two big, like when you think Pac-12, you don't think Oregon and Washington. You don't think those other surrounding states. You think California. When you hear Pac-12, you think the state of California, and you just remove the two biggest pillars you had out of that state or out of that conference and put them in a conference that already had its pillars. It already had its Ohio State, its Penn States, it already had all that.
Yeah.
But it's weird. And I get Notre Dame joined the ACC during the pandemic.
Yeah.
Geographically, it makes more sense for Notre Dame to be in the Big Ten. But Notre Dame feels like a ACC team,
Yeah. No,
they feel like an ACC team.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's something about the way that it, like you said, it's just a feeling. It's not
It's not a geographical thing. With most schools, it's a geographical thing. But Notre Dame feels like it would be. It just fits better in the ACC than it would in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Notre Dame, Michigan, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Penn State. Seeing if those three games happen every year, that would be great TV.
Those are good matchups.
And don't get me wrong, it's better than a Notre Dame, North Carolina, Notre Dame, NC State. But I don't know. Notre Dame just feels like an ACC team to me.
No, I don't disagree with that. It's who knows where it goes next. Hey, maybe, the Pac-12 is going to have, I don't know, fucking Arkansas. I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
Like the way that everything's going is,
I feel like
it doesn't make sense.
I feel like a natural move for them would be to grab Nevada right there with you. If you want to keep it regional, Nevada's right there. And they've always kind of been that almost a good program and not quite. But I think if you put them in the Pac-12, it gives them a lot more recruiting power.
Sure. I agree with that. Yeah.
And the biggest reason guys don't go to smaller schools is because they don't have the opportunity to play for national championship. And by the way, hot take here, Utah's going to run. I mean, they already kind of do with Oregon, but Utah is going to run the Pac-12 once USC and UCLA leave.
Yeah, no question.
Utah will run it. And, you don't think of Utah as like a powerhouse, but if you look at their records over the last 10 years, Utah has been the probably most consistent out of any team in the Pac-12.
Are we going to see the resurgence of Oregon?
I think you could. I wouldn't hate seeing Bo Nix fall on his face for a second, though.
Well, that is what it is.
I wouldn't hate seeing Bo Nix fall on his face for a minute there with the shit him and his daddy pulled. I like Bo Nix as a person. I think he's actually probably a really good person. My biggest issue is if the rumors are true that his dad went to Harsin and said the only way my son is staying is if I get hired on at some capacity as a coach. And from what I heard, he was wanting the offensive coordinator job. And he said, if you hire me on as a coach, as the offensive coordinator, then Bo stays, and I'm guaranteeing you my next son will come here. And from what I heard, Brian Harsin said, "Fuck off."
I mean, you can't do that with Bo Nix, right?
Don't get me wrong. At the end of the year, he was really good, but no, your son's got to be Cam Newton, Vince Young, Michael Vick.
That's what I was about to say.
That's the only three people you get to make that kind of call your shot with like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know many more. I don't know many more people. Maybe Joe Burrow. Like, there's 3 or 4 kids. Like,
but that's such a bold claim to be like, either you get me this highly prestigious job or my kid's going somewhere else.
Yeah, all I've ever done is head coach high school football teams. You should give me an offensive coordinator job. And I haven't won a state championship, but I've just been a high school football coach. You should get me.
I have no accolades to prove that I would be good for your program, but I want this job.
Yeah, because my sons play quarterback.
Yeah. I don't know. That one's.
And to go to Oregon, who already has a starter in place, last time I checked, Bo Nix was 3rd on the depth chart. I don't see where that makes any sense to go to somewhere like Oregon.
And you got to think about how is he going to fill out their roster, right?
Right.
Because Oregon's always primarily been just quick running backs.
And mobile quarterbacks, but they have a couple good ones. They have one guy, I can't remember his name. He was the starter last year and they played well.
Right.
Now, I think a Michigan move would have been good for him. I think a Notre Dame move would have been good for him.
Yeah.
I think Penn State would have been good for him.
I think Penn State probably would have been good for him. Yeah, I agree with that.
These schools that always struggle to find a quarterback, I think they could have been really good moves.
Yeah.
Florida State could have been a good move. They're kind of in between, and you're not having to move very far. Now you're moving all the way across the country. In Florida, in the ACC right now is there for the taking.
Yeah, pretty much.
Clemson's banged up, and North Carolina, Sam Howell's, he's gone. Like, you got to see, like, I mean, there's a lot of schools that had opening quarterback positions, and Oregon wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
And so to throw that temper tantrum, then go somewhere where you're not guaranteed to be the starter. I don't mind if you fall on your face a little bit.
Kind of a stupid move. Yeah.
I don't mind to see him fall on his face.
Yeah.
We're kind of all over the place here. R. Kelly.
He gone.
R. Kelly being placed on suicide watch after being sentenced to 30 years in prison.
He really is fighting for his fucking life now, man.
Yeah. R. Kelly has been placed on suicide watch at the federal detention facility in New York, where he is being held after he was sentenced this week to 30 years in prison on racketeering and sex trafficking charges.
So they're saying he's on suicide watch too, despite not showing any evidence or anything of self-harm.
But the disgraced R&B singer is not suicidal, is what an attorney told CNN.
Yep.
So the thing is, you want to get back into conspiracy theory, Kit?
Go ahead.
Did he have anything to do with Epstein?
I mean, that's a tough conspiracy, but when you look at it from a standpoint of Epstein provided
young
minors to
people.
Celebrities, I mean, that's essentially the whole reason that he's in prison right now.
Yeah.
So
could he have been like kind of working for him, or whoever Epstein was working for? Or which a lot of these stories and cases are mainly talking about, him himself using these women, not really other people. But it's the thing that makes it suspicious is putting him on suicide watch.
So the thing about this too is he's on suicide watch now. His trials aren't over yet. August 1st, yes, and August 1st, he has his Chicago trial for federal child pornography and obstruction charges. And he's still facing felony charges for prostitution with a minor in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So he's on suicide watch before he even makes it into his next trial.
Who else got put on suicide watch immediately?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
And there's somebody that apparently committed suicide.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a far stretch to like say R. Kelly's connected with the biggest sex trafficking scandal in history, but I mean, it's just odd. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. It's odd that's going on.
No, it is very suspicious. Especially when they come out with comments from his agent and everything said he's never shown self-harm before.
Right.
Yeah.
Which they may be thinking like, this he's this high profile guy who made money on sex music and like he was the man for the longest time.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just concerned him falling this far. That's going to put him off himself. Yeah.
Possibly.
A jury convicted Kelly last September on 9 counts, including 1 charge of racketeering, 8 counts of violations of the Mann Act, the Mann Act's a sex trafficking law. Prosecutors from the Eastern District of New York City accused Kelly of using his status as a celebrity and a network of people at his disposal to target girls, boys, and young women for his own sexual gratification. See, that's something I missed. I didn't know boys were involved in it either.
I didn't either. I never heard anything about boys.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if he was using the boys to bring
to get the young girls,
or if he was, committing crimes with the boys. I don't know. One thing I don't like in our justice system is when somebody commits this heinous of crimes.
Yeah,
we put them in solitary. We don't put them in general population
because what's going to happen in general pop.
Yeah,
yeah,
we all do. But it's kind of like you made this bed, now you're in it. We shouldn't have comfort prisons and regular prisons.
Yeah, you're not going to get special treatment because we don't want you to get hurt. You're going to prison.
Yeah, and that's the thing is celebrities getting these soft prisons is the big thing.
Right.
Because with a lot of guys, with just like the regular person that has some kind of sex offender charge.
Yeah.
While they're going through their trial and to begin with, they're in, solitary, but like a couple of years after they put them in general population and basically feed them to the wolves.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And so I hate that we have these nice soft prisons. Like, and then, you also think with these soft prisons, you got these guys like, Bernie Madoff and stuff like that, who ruin multiple people's lives, thousands, if not, hundreds of thousands of people's lives. And
but white collar crimes are all treated differently.
Yes, which I can't stand.
Yeah,
I can't stand. Me robbing the mom and pop store for everything they have is no different than him screwing
a millionaire.
Than him screwing just regular people who were holding stock.
Yeah,
who were putting their retirement fund in it or whatever.
Right.
And him lying and killing this, and the stock ends up dying. He goes to prison. He gets off basically scot-free. And like somebody like me, if I were to go down and rob mom's kitchen for everything they have, then I'm just going to get put in general population. Yeah. It's the same thing. I've ruined multiple people's lives for this. Yeah. But yet it's fine as long as you're famous. As long as you made enough money when you did it, you get put as white collar.
Pretty much. I mean, it's a tough argument.
Also talking about, you brought up Ghislaine Maxwell. Is there new news on her?
She's been put on suicide watch after, I do believe she got 20 years. She got sentenced to 20 years.
Did you see where she asked for a lesser sentence because she was saying basically she grew up in a bad home, or not in a bad home, but because of how she was raised, she asked for a lighter sentence? Because I guess her attorney or her thought process was, well, she thought this was okay.
Yeah.
Like no part of you thinks that's okay,
Yeah. So yeah, they're putting her in for 20 years, and she's immediately on suicide watch for aiding Epstein.
I want to know the people that she was working for. That's the biggest thing is we got two big names, and that's where the kind of we quit chasing this trail, right? Let's like why don't we try to really dig and find out who these girls were going to, who these girls were entertaining, and who was setting up the funds for this, you know?
Yeah.
Like if we really want to be about it, like let's really be about it, you know?
Right. But personally, I think she's going to commit suicide in prison. Yeah. So we'll see how this one plays out.
She's gonna pull a suey.
Yeah, I don't think she's making it out. She's 60, right? So even if she does fulfill her entire prison sentence, she's coming out at 80 years old. And
yeah, like there's a chance she dies before then.
Right.
But see, this is going to be one of those things. It's going to be considered a white collar crime.
Oh yeah. So they were talking about the prison that she's going to be put in, which they were calling it like a quote unquote Disneyland prison. I don't know why I didn't look into that. But I think they may be calling it that because it's like either a really, let's see. Yeah. So the Federal Correction Institution in Danbury, Connecticut has been home to some of the most famous female inmates in United States history. Oh, they're calling it that because that's the one that's referred to as Club Fed. It's the low security prison.
Yeah, because she's not like a danger and trying to break out or start a riot.
Right. So yeah, it's more quote unquote lackadaisical prison.
Yeah, so she's been in the Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center. She's been there for the past 23 months.
That's why she was waiting a trial.
See, this is my thing. I enjoyed watching the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial.
A lot of people did.
This is the one I'd rather see.
Yeah.
I agree. This is the one I'd rather see.
Yeah, this is a real like I'm not discounting what Amber Heard did or whatever, but like this is a major crime.
Yeah, one was this girl needs to be taught like you can't just throw people.
It's a domestic dispute. Yeah, you know, it's a huge domestic dispute, but it's very high profile because they're both famous.
Right. And this one's like a horrific, like this network of people committed horrific crimes. And like we don't get to see any of the details about it other than like prison sentences and the big stuff. But she did say that she would snitch for a lesser sentence. Now, if you're a judge, I get like you really want the people she'd snitch on, right? You really need those people. But this is she's obviously just a terrible person. So do you take the lessening her time? I mean, she's already 60. So if 15 years, she gets out 75, what does she really have to do, after that?
Right. Like, I think from a judicial standpoint, the smart thing to do, which if it wasn't like this high profile thing where it's at, the smart thing to do is be like, yeah, let's get everybody that's connected to this. Go ahead, tell me.
Right. But the thing is, how many years do you give her like off if she were to come forward with some valuable information?
I don't know.
Now, I think there's levels to it. If you give me information to get most of the people, almost everybody, I mean,
cut sentence in half.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, 7, 8 years, 9 years. Yeah. If you give me one or two names, you're still doing 15. Yeah. But it depends on the level of it. Like, I don't need to know the janitor that was working there. Like, that's not getting prison time off.
This is a whole known thing that there's like this huge network that this was,
Yeah. And we've just kind of like, they're kind of like they're kind of like, hey, look, we got 2 of them, and everybody's like, what about the others? And they're like, but we got the 2.
You're
And
right.
we're like, what about the others? And we're like, we got 2 of them, and it's like, yeah. But you got anything else?
We can wrap it up with stocks.
Stocks. Let's see. I'm trying to think. I'm probably up like, +2,
Yeah.
I didn't have a terrible week. I've got me like a nice new keyboard. Let's see. I've been playing some golf. We went to the lake. Oh, I took Kayla's dad and her sister to the lake Sunday.
Yeah.
And Kayla had breakfast with her dad and her sister before they went back home.
Mm-hmm.
And they said her dad was basically like, retirement's coming up. Show me what boat to get. As long as you, he told Kayla, as long as you and Cody can do everything, like, drive it, dock it, all that.
I'll buy the boat if you can handle it.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm like,
nice.
I'm like, how big of a boat we talking here? Because I've seen some nice ones that I'll never be able to afford, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I told Kayla, I said, I saw one. It was a brand new Mastercraft.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the X26. I said, I saw one for, it was only 350,000.
Yeah. That's a retirement boat.
I said, what kind of boat we talking about?
Yeah.
We we talking about like my boat. We don't need to have 2 of the same boat. We don't need another Pro Star.
No, we want a party boat.
Yeah, and see, he's talking about having a boat big enough to fit everybody. Kids, future grandkids, all that, and then also like be able to like wakeboard or tube or whatever too.
Yeah.
So as much as I can't stand some of these wake boat owners. I can't lie. I can't lie.
You'd like to have one.
I'd be jealous if I said I didn't want one.
Yeah, sure. So. I'm gonna. It's been what, like 2 weeks since I've been on the pod.
Something like that.
Yeah. Dude, you're gonna go nuts. Tristan's gonna hear it. He's gonna go nuts. I'm gonna say I'm like +11 right now.
Whoa.
Man. Yeah.
Whoa.
So I was at a concert 2 weeks ago. I finally got to use the tickets that I've been holding on to since COVID started. Got to see Joan Jett, Poison, Def Leppard, and Motley Crue.
Hell yeah.
That was cool. Tommy Lee broke 4 ribs like 3 days before the concert. So he played 3 songs and then he gets up. He's like, hey, everybody, they told me not to come out here and play. I broke 4 ribs. I hurt really bad. So I'm going to have somebody fill in for me for the rest of the songs. It's the drummer from Nikki Sixx's little offshoot band that they do like project thing. Dude was phenomenal. He was awesome. And Tommy Lee came back out to play piano for Home Sweet Home.
Hell yeah.
It was cool. It was an awesome concert. It was really great.
I feel like they've really gained some they really gained like their demand and popularity went back up since the dirt.
So yeah, that was one of the things. Me and my buddy were sitting there, and he like taps me on the shoulder. He points down. We were at Truist Park, Atlanta Braves Stadium.
Yeah.
And he points down. He's like, "Hey, is that Machine Gun Kelly walking down on the infield?" And I look, and I was like, "Yeah, it is." And 15 minutes later, he was on the stage, and they're like, "Hey, we did a song with Machine Gun Kelly for the movie The Dirt. He played Tommy Lee. He's like, so we're going to do this song with him." And he came up and performed with him, that was cool. And then last week, I finally got Starlink after waiting for a year and a half. So now I have actual internet.
How's it working for you?
Phenomenal. Is
there any intermittent, like anything?
I've had a couple times where I'll be playing, like a tactical shooter or something, and I'll get a high latency. I'll get like a 150, and that'll last for about 5 to 10 seconds. Not enough to kick me out of a match, but right. I'll lag for a second, and then I'm right back to it, and really no issues for the rest of the time I play that day.
I saw you playing Insurgency the other day.
Yeah, and it's been really good.
Hey, hit me up. I got Insurgency.
Okay, yeah, I'll play it with you, dude. I'll play it for sure. My shots actually hit people now. Like before, it was
you had to aim 4 feet ahead of them.
Yeah, so before I would like shoot somebody like 6 times, and like 3 of the shots would hit them because the 4 of them didn't register or whatever. So that's been awesome to actually be able to play games like Halo and shit again.
And be able to update shit too, huh?
Oh man, I can watch TV now.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. I'll
yeah.
get on Hulu, and I don't like have to buffer. I can watch stuff in 4K. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really did change my life. So I'm on the moon with it right now. I'm happy.
Like the two biggest events in Kent's life is figuring out about masturbation and figuring about and getting Starlink. That's the two biggest events.
I figured the first one out really though. It was super easy. But no, I've used the internet way more. It's been great.
You've been at home. You've been at home more now that your internet works.
Well, I haven't necessarily been at home more. I've been less bored at home because before it's like I'd get here and I got shitty CenturyLink and it's like not working.
Stare at a fucking wall the rest of the day.
or load up an episode of like The Mandalorian and watch a 50-minute episode in 3 hours because I had to wait on it.
Every 15 minutes you got a 15-minute break for buffering. Yep.
Yeah, so I'll be like, well, I guess I'll get up and make dinner, and then I'll do that and then watch the rest of the show and then go to bed because that was my entire afternoon was waiting to watch one TV show.
Yeah, like my old house finally has Troy Cable.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, it got Troy.
They won't run it out here.
I think they got it about 6 months ago. Yeah.
Damn.
Oh, talk about MGK. Did you see him enter his concert at MSG on a helicopter?
No, that's pretty cool.
Well, it was like a prop helicopter. Let me see if I can share my screen.
We got 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know how to share my screen. It's fine. Anyway, if you get the chance, look it up. It's absolutely nuts. But yeah, dude, I'm stoked for you. I appreciate it
now. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Because at first I thought about when we were talking about doing the Zoom, I was like, well, Kent doesn't have good internet. So
I didn't want to say anything because I was like, no, just surprise him.
Yeah.
No, I can like stream a game or something now. Like I'll be like, hey, check this out, and I'll stream a game or something in the Discord.
You know,
so
you know what the nicest thing, like if Auburn, like when Auburn was playing baseball, or if there's ever an Auburn basketball game on, or
having two things going at once.
Because I got two monitors. So if I'm playing like Valorant or something, I can watch the game on one monitor and play my game on the other and have no problems. Now, Spectrum has been going down a lot lately.
A lot of people's been having that issue.
Yeah, like I have new security cameras now around my house because we're so famous, you know.
Yeah, big time.
And I'll get if it's offline for more than like 15 or 30 minutes, it'll shoot me and let me know like, hey, your cameras are offline right now because they all run off the internet.
Yeah.
But I got 5 security cameras at my house now.
Nice.
I got the Blink, dude. They're easy. They're real easy to.
I'm going to get something now that I've determined this internet actually works good for me and everything.
Right.
So I'm looking into what kind of camera solutions I can get around here.
I can show you my Blink camera setup. It was easy. I set it all up by myself in about an hour.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I'll check that out next time around there.
Yeah, I caught a deal on it. It was on sale for like $250 for 5 cameras.
Sweet.
Yeah. But well, I think it's gonna wrap us up. Check us out.
Hit us with a sponsor.
Go to southerncreekclothing.com. Use code 3RD for 20% off your order. We get a little kickback off of that. Help support the pod. Go check out our Twitter at Third Pod. Go check out our Instagram at _the_3room_. TikTok at the Third Room _. And I'm forgetting one. Do you check
306-0889?
Yeah. Call the number at
is it 206? I messed the number up. God dang it. Watch one of the previous episodes, you'll see.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. 205
that's it.
0889.
That's it.
I never got to my phone to look at it, but it finally clicked.
Yeah.
Yep. So thanks for listening.
That's the Third Room.
Oh, if I can figure out how to end it, there we go.
Boo boo.
Catch you later.
Bye.